Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about choosing what is here. This is a way of looking at life that I found particularly helpful. And it's about this recognition that all we actually need to do to be okay is to say yes to what's here. And in fact that many of our issues and many of our problems in life are due to not being okay with what's here. And that not being okay with being here is what Buddhists refer to as craving. That really, when we learn to be faithful to what's here at this moment, that's where we find peace, that's where we find joy, and that's the only place we can find peace and joy. This choosing what is here, it's not about some kind of being becoming disconnected or becoming indifferent to what's here. It's fully celebrating what's here. It means fully enjoying what's here. It means giving ourselves fully to what's here. But that once what's here is moved on, we move on with it. That our only concern is what's here now. It's about becoming fully invested in what's here now, and it's our failure to do that that's at the heart of our inability to get the most out of life. And this is something that I struggled with for so many years. And one of the reasons I was very enthusiastic about alcohol for many years, and the thing driving that was my inability to kind of accept what was there. And I was kind of always drinking, either to numb what was there or to somehow try to make it better, and it didn't really work. But this inability to choose what's here is, as I say, referred to as craving. And there's three ways in which we crave, or which craving operates. There's just three ways in which we resist or try to push away what's here. One is a kind of greed that arises. So say there's something happening and we like it. Right away the mind starts to strategize how to get more of it. So I suppose an example of this that I like to use is that I noticed years ago when Spotify first came out, I would hear a song on a playlist and I'd be enjoying it. And right away my mind would be going, how can I get more of this in the future? So I start looking at other songs by the artists, and I start creating a playlist of their songs. And as soon as I start doing that, I was no longer just appreciating that thing that was happening. And of course, what I was trying to do was actually impossible, because that moment of it, enjoying that song wasn't just down to the song, it was down to these endless factors, like how I was feeling at that moment, my level of alertness, how well I slept the night before, what the weather was. There was kind of these endless factors that my mind is trying to grasp onto one factor in that experience, and is trying to prolong it, and it's destined to fail, because it wasn't that one thing. It wasn't that one factor that was doing it in the first place. And it's actually impossible to keep recreating the same experience, because each experience is new and novel. That we're always kind of experiencing a fresh thing and a new thing. That the kind of the factors that create an experience are always changing, and there's infinite factors, so you're never going to be able to get them all the same again. And this idea of having, as soon as we have something that we like, that we want to agree to continue it or to have it in the future, that all that ever does is prevents us from actually appreciating and enjoying what's actually there. And so as soon as the mind goes more, we've just lost that joy, and it's turned into greed, and that greed, as I say, is a form of craving. Another kind of craving that we experience is when the things are being labelled as unpleasant or unwanted or undesired. That right away the mind can have this need to push it away. So say we're feeling sad, there's this this kind of urge to push away that sadness, and that again is another form of craving. And we try to get rid of that sadness by taking a drug, or and the kind of the things we usually do to get rid of the sadness tend to be always kind of bad things that actually ultimately make our situation worse. And of course there is no getting away from these things, because these things are very much part of life, and they keep on returning. And so many of our issues and so many of our kind of mental health issues and kind of inner disturbances can be due to this tendency to try to ignore and push away and avoid what's actually here, stuff that we find pleasant. That when we learn to actually be with what's being labelled as unpleasant, a lot of the time we find that it's not actually unpleasant. It was just trying to get away with it that was actually the problem. But even if there are cases where things are genuinely not good, or being we can kind of genuinely say this is unpleasant, that's an opportunity for us to experience compassion and self-compassion, and that feeling of compassion is one of the most wonderful things we can experience. And there is no compassion without difficulty. And see that those difficulties then aren't just about us. We can kind of use them as an opportunity. We can to kind of to understand those situations. So for one thing, we might to help other people. That's a wonderful thing to do. But even without that, even without the helping other people, just that ability to feel compassion is wonderful. And so this incredible thing can be that we're experiencing great pain or great difficulty or great loss or great rejection, but our ability to be with it in a compassionate way makes it somehow wonderful. And another way we experience craving is this looking for something else to be here. That it's when we reject what's here with the idea that it'd be better if something else was here. And this is kind of very much to do with our expectations, that we've got these expectations about what we want, what needs to happen, what we'd like to happen. And what that means is when things aren't the way we think they should be, we want to reject it, and we want this other thing to be there. And of course, that it's not actually about the experience itself. It's about what we think should be there that's actually causing the problem. It's like, so say for example, if there's some conversation going on with some people we know, and we have this plan about we're going to tell these people about our holiday, and then we join in the conversation, and we just don't get a chance to talk about our holiday. We could decide that chat, that conversation was a complete waste of time, that it was no good, and we wish there was another conversation happening. But actually, the conversation itself, there was no problem. The only problem was that we had a different idea. We wanted something else to be there. But if we had to kind of get into the spirit and into the mood of that particular conversation, we would have been able to fully enjoy it. This is this ruined my life for so long. This rejection of what was here, and it meant that I don't I wouldn't change anything about my life, because it's been this incredible journey. But I can kind of see how my these simple things that I were doing was causing me so much suffering. And the incredible thing is that when we learn to choose what's here, when we learn to say yes to what's here, like when we learn to be faithful to what's here, this all becomes something incredible. That the more we can do that, the more we can say yes to what's here, the more incredible it becomes. And we realize that this is always exactly what we want, that everything we desire is already here. All we have to do is say yes to it. It's like our yes, our faithfulness causes all this to blossom, no matter what it is. So I just thought I would share that with you today. Thanks very much for watching, and see you again.